Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, good evening and welcome to week number 2 of the Hyperion Cup, or the Hyperion Invitational Cup number 2. My name is Warren Juggle God Hammond, and tonight I am joined on the mic by my good friend, Dividing. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. We've got two amazing teams ready to go head to head today. And like you mentioned, this is week two of only five in the regular season before two teams get eliminated for the playoffs at least. So, you definitely want to try to avoid going it for an 0-2 start. And obviously, if you could start 2-0, that'll give you put you in a fantastic position for the rest of the season.
It certainly will, and Paradise Aegis looking to do just that. Go to 2-0. They have picked up a win on the first week, but let's talk a little bit about their lineup and just historically about Paradise Aegis. They won the very first Hyperion Invitational Cup. And the team core has been together for a very long time, so this means, of course, there's going to be a lot of synergy.
Yeah, there is a lot to like about this roster. They've been together for a long time, so obviously they understand how to communicate with each other. They really have nailed down their team synergy, their communication structure, and they've had a lot of success as well. So you can know that this team is going to have tons of confidence, especially after winning 3-1 last week against, I believe it was Kaiju Core Clover, which is actually a pretty strong team in their own right. So I'm sure Paradise Aegis are feeling pretty good about their prospects, not only to win this game, but to go on and play very well in this invitational in itself.
You're absolutely right. Being the defending champions and, being the team that's been together for so long, a lot of expectations put on them. But let's take a moment and talk about Frost Nova now. They are a brand new roster for the Hyperion Invitational Cup number 2. So there isn't a whole lot we know about this team just yet, these players. So we're going to be learning a lot tonight. And I am here for it. I'm excited to see what this new roster is going to bring out here.
It's kind of the opposite of Paradise Aegis, just because
Right.
on one side you have a team that's been together for a full year. On the other team side, there's a team that was literally formed for this tournament. So a huge disparity when it comes to the communication, the synergy that's been built up. Paradise Aegis has a huge advantage in that, right? That being said, also Paradise Aegis doesn't really know what to expect when it comes to Frost Nova, just as much as we don't, right? They are a team
Yes.
that is brand new. They could throw out something super random that they're not expecting. I would be super here for it.
Yeah, as am I. This is going to be a fantastic night of Overwatch, and we are going to be starting things off tonight as well on Busan. So
Yeah,
we're going to get a taste of what these teams like to run on each of these maps. Dive
yeah.
can be an option, Wrecking Ball comps can be an option, of course, Brawl especially an option if we go to Mecha Base.
Yeah, there's a lot you could do. It seems like over the last couple of months, as the meta has kind of settled into a pretty stable spot before Overwatch 2, on Busan it seems like we end up going with a lot of the sort of six-man rush comps a lot of the time. The Winston Diva, the Reaper Sombra kind of situation, where you just
Mhm.
kind of try and stick together and be a massive death ball and just run into the opponent and run them over. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to see out of both of these teams. That is what we see a lot of the time. But like you mentioned, I think the geometry of the Busan map makes it very likely we could see something a little more long range, a little more pokey. We mentioned the Wrecking Ball, especially on Sanctuary, can be very, very good. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. We're going to learn a lot about, I think, Frost Nova, especially as the new team on the block during this map, because they could run a lot of different things, and we'll see where exactly their tendencies fall.
Yeah, I think there's lots that's going to come to light in this first map. Now, one thing that we forgot to mention, talking about both these teams, is one player in particular, and that's Azino. Because Azino, if I remember correctly, played for Frost Nova in the past, or possibly Frost Surge. One more time, production. Oh, Thor and Azino both played for. I didn't realize that. Both played for Frost Nova. So they have more of an insight into what's going to be happening than we potentially do. And what's interesting is right now, Azino doesn't look like they're going to be in this first game. It looks like it will be Thoria Maya, though. She'll be making an appearance. So Paradise Aegis does actually have potentially some insight into what Frost Nova is going to do. But again, this is a pretty new roster. So maybe this
Yeah.
is just as much of a mystery for them as it is for us.
Gotta love Paradise. You just going with the quick yoink my players now kind of maneuver. You go for you take two of the last players on the Frost Nova roster, you take them for yourself, and you profit, I guess. If there's anything to be said from the first game, that they've been profiting so far. And as we head into Busan now, we'll see if this continues. We are starting off on Mecha Base, which means, well, we could be seeing some Reinhardt on the table.
We certainly could. I would be a little surprised if we didn't. There's also the possibility of running a wrecking ball comp here as
Right.
well. I've seen that more and more recently as Overwatch 1 winds down, shall we say. But it's absolutely an option, and you typically see that wrecking ball post up near coast instead of taking the typical route that you would see Reinhardt take up on the high ground.
Yep, and both teams, in fact, are going to be locking in that Reinhardt almost immediately. So, for the most part, it's looking like, there's some weird things going on the red side of the field, but that's probably going to get hashed out in the next 10 seconds or so. On the other side, we do see very traditional Cassidy, May, Baptiste, Lucio. It's about as old school brawl as you could get with this current hero roster.
It certainly is. We're seeing a couple of last moment changes. Admiral going to give a little boost out the gates for Frost Nova. They're going to have an advantage here, be able to kind of pick exactly how they want the playing field to look. It's going to be Merlin going down to about half health right now. Almost gets shut out by that May wall, but doesn't quite get them out of the way, but still causes quite a few problems. In the meantime, though, Waistband Shield looking a little rough as well. Locknack now trying to throw in some damage. The May wall lands. This time it's going to be a pair of trades. Waistband goes down, though, and with that and Thoria Maya out of the fight, this one should go the way of Frost Nova.
Yeah, Frost Nova now moving things over to the point. Just gotta get the last couple of stragglers here, and you gotta love the initial aggression coming out from the side of Frost Nova. It really does feel like when it comes to these brawl mirrors, the team that takes the tempo tends to come out on top. But yeah, you see here the WoW coming out. The members of Paradise Aegis are actually staying in this one. Brick Wall has stayed on the Tracer, which allowed them to get back to point even faster, and that has actually swapped it back over in favor of Paradise Aegis, and this is kind of the synergy difference, right? You got a team that's played together for a really long time. You go down early in a fight, you're able to stick together, not take any more losses. You swap to a Tracer to get back fast, and you take the point first.
Shatter coming out from Waistband. That's going to lay down a few players, but it's Merlin's that lands a little harder in response. The Amp Matrix put out by Thoria Maya as well, not going to find the value that they were hoping for, and it will be Frost Nova who takes control of the point.
That's gotta be huge for Merlin to start off this main tank battle. I'm sure it'll be between themselves and Waistband. Being able to get the better end of the first start of Shatters is going to be huge for the Reinhardt's confidence, and a confident Reinhardt is a very dangerous Reinhardt. And you also, of course, on the side of Frost Nova, have the bomb that is being thrown in right now.
While gonna keep the other members of Paradise Aegis at bay while the Blizzard goes down from Locknack to try and stall things out. They unfortunately go down, though. Immortality Field thrown out to keep Waistband alive. We've got Cool Puppet peppering him from an off angle as well, finding some value but not getting the kills. But can't say the same for Admiral. They take one but are traded out shortly thereafter. Meanwhile, all this time, the point's still ticking over in favor of Frost Nova. We're finally seeing it migrate. The fight that is towards the point, at least momentarily. Merlin charged out. Gonna be taken out by the self-destruct of 2-Bit as well. Beautiful heads-up play coming out there from Waistband.
Yeah, beautifully done, charging Merlin so they couldn't put the shield up for the Diva Bomb. That is absolutely massive, and what eventually ends up turning this fight in favor of Paradise Aegis. However, 57% was able to be claimed by Frost Nova before they got it over to the other side, so that's quite respectable, especially with both the Amplification Matrix and the Blizzard coming up for that squad. As long as you can deal with the Shatter on the other side from Waistband, you shouldn't have too much to worry about.
They're about to proc that Shatter, and at the moment, Frost Nova has decided to take a rotation, bring it over towards Coast. They've got a beautiful position to be able to drop down onto point right now. Several members of their team going down low, though. Cruel Puppet taken out of the equation. Locknet less loose with the Blizzard. That's going to be Snex trying to keep everyone alive with the Immortality Field, but Pocket Frog is there with the Pocket beat as well to keep everybody up, but it's not going to be for long enough as the counter sound barrier comes in. It gives a lot of aggressive pushing power to Paradise Aegis, and they finish things up.
That is really tough for Frost Nova. They used just about every ult they had in the bank right there. Z is still outside of the mech, which is actually brutal, especially with 90% and counting. You're going to get it back, but you don't really have the Diva to force a touch. You got to get in there the hard way, and you got to get through that Mei wall.
That they do. 98% on the board, and I don't think we're seeing a touch, especially after Brick Wall nails down 3. Somebody at the last moment was able to get there, but with a team kill, Paradise Aegis takes the first sub-map.
That was beautifully played from Paradise Aegis, and knew that without Z or the Lucio being able to get to the point in time, they would have to try and rush to get to the point. I think actually the Lucio did go out and touch, but everyone else was rushing to get to the point, and it forced them out of position right in the way for Brick Wall to get a massive Deadeye to finish off that series. Now we move over onto Sanctuary, and we see some changes coming out for both sides. We see both teams going on much faster compositions. However, Frost Nova has decided to go for the Wrecking Ball composition, while Paradise Aegis going with the Winston-based kind of Death Ball comp, and they are actually going to walk out with the Torb. I didn't mention it because I thought it might have been a last-second switch situation, but you go with it, you go very anti-flanker, and Myrle's going to have a lot of trouble actually getting in the back with that Torb turret just auto-chunking down the health.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's going to be a pain for that mechanized murder hamster. Waistband, though, going down very low. They are able to help get the kill, though, taking a lot of space, allowing Thorium Maya actually to pop off on the Moira. 2 players down. Crucially, the support line. That's going to be a first fight win for Paradise Aegis.
And Thor already has the Coalescence available. That is huge, not only for her, but for the entirety of Paradise Aegis. You're going to be able to use that Coalescence in the second fight. You know, because there's a Zen and a Brig on the other side, there's no way there's an ultimate to respond to this. I say just go super aggressive with this upcoming Coalescence as soon as you get that last 5% for it, and just go for the kill.
We're going to see if they opt to do that as the rotation is coming in through the high ground. Paradise Aegis aware of it. They are now counter-rotating to see if they can maybe force Frost Nova into an inadvantageous position, but at the moment they're capping point. We do get somebody on at the last moment to stall it out. Cool Puppet, though, puts a face full of bullets into Waistband. However, it doesn't dissuade them from continuing to push. Thorium Maya has that Coalescence behind them, and that's doing a lot of work. Z the Femboy able to drop back onto point, though, and Frost Nova coming away with the fight win here.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Thor's perspective for a little bit. I think they were looking for an aggressive Coalescence play, but not only did it take a little bit of extra time to get that Coalescence online, but there was some very creative rotations coming out from the side of Frost Nova. It confused Paradise Aegis and made it very difficult to know where they were coming from, but now that I've said that, Paradise Aegis is coming out from under Frost Nova's nose and they flipped the point back. How'd they even do that?
Yeah, you know, they may have lost the point, but they never gave up the fight. And I think it's some of this synergy coming back in that we were talking about, right? They trust each other to be able to hold on to the fight, keep Frost Nova from getting a chance to reset and recuperate, and thus they were able to come back in and win.
Yeah, they are able to come back in and win. So, and look at these ults on the side of Paradise Aegis now. You got 5 coming in, and yeah, at this point, you may as well just try and push them into the spawn. Just put an exclamation mark on this Busan map. Now, of course, you do have a Lucio on the point, so you're going to have to back off for a second. But at the end of the day, you're at 85% and counting, and Frost Nova looks scattered.
That they do. They're only going to have this tac visor to work with in this next fight.
Yeah, just attack visor. You don't even have that up yet. Brick wall and lockback could go very aggressive, and yeah, that's exactly what they do.
They're going to be rewarded with 1 kill onto Merlin. Now, without the main tank, things have gotten a lot more difficult. Lockneck locks things down with the Molten Core on point, and the pieces are just falling into place for Paradise Aegis to take the first map.
Shout out to Lockneck's turret. Got 2 kills in that last fight. Gotta love just in the heat of battle and everyone's everywhere. The auto damage of the turret cannot be understated. Why didn't we get play of the game? Boo. I wanted to see it. I want to see it. Maybe it was the turret. I don't know. We'll never know. I'm sad.
Oh, that's funny. Prod, shots have been fired from the casting booth. Oh, that's not even them. Yeah, Prod just told me.
The teams are hosting. The teams are hosting. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I'm doing a thing we call acting and being very and being overly sad for the dramatic effect.
Yes, exactly.
But I think the main takeaway I got from Busan is that Frost Nova and Paradise Aegis tend to play a lot of the same things, right? They both want to try and stick to the meta most of the time. They go for brawl where most people go brawl. You go for rush when most people go rush. The difference really does seem to be the synergy of Paradise Aegis. It has allowed them to stay in fights that they really had no business staying into. Yep. It seems like every time Paradise Aegis wins a fight, it is like extremely decisive. And when Frost Nova wins a fight, it feels like they really have to like scrap for every inch of ground.
You're exactly right. And Paradise Aegis, they're not letting them have all the ground either. Multiple fights that Frost Nova won, there were still members of Paradise Aegis, like you said, fighting it out, keeping presence near or on the point, keeping some kind of map control, allowing them to come back in at a really strong way. So Frost Nova, I think they either need to decide to somehow disengage or do a better job cleaning up these kills. Otherwise, it's just going to be more of the same for Paradise Aegis.
Yeah, I think it will. I would want to see Frost Nova maybe try and just throw some curveballs in Paradise Aegis' face. I just don't think. Now, you might, this is me making a pretty big assumption on one map of play. But I really just, after seeing that, I'm not sure if Frost Nova is going to be able to get anything done by playing a mirror, or at least a pretty similar mirror as to what Paradise Aegis is playing. I think you need to throw some kind of counterplay in their face, predict what kind of comps they're going to play, and play something, just Overwatch is like the most complicated game of rock, paper, scissors, right? Just they're throwing rock, figure out how to change your comp so that you're throwing paper.
Exactly. And there's like subtleties to each of them, right? Like, it's it's like, okay, what kind of rock is it? Is it marble? Is it I don't know. That's the only rock I can actually think of at the moment. But I think you get the point I'm trying to make, which is
that's another one.
Oh, hey, there we go. That's good. That's good. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that, these rock, paper, and scissors, they've got different variations to them, right? And a lot of times that's what's going to give you the edge in these fights. Like you said, these two teams, they were running largely the same compositions, but there were subtle variations on each side. So
absolutely,
I'm wondering how much of an effect those variations are having in what's going on. I agree with you completely, though, that it's more so the kind of synergy that we're seeing coming out from Paradise Aegis that's carrying them through so far.
So as the teams are gearing up here for the second map, we do have a sub-in that I think is going to make you very happy, Jokugan. Yes. Zeno's coming in.
Zeno!
Tell me a little bit more about why you love this player so much.
Well, Zeno has just, ever since the, I think really the first Hyperion Cup Invitational, which I played in as well, right? On Lux
I
Nova.
forgot you actually played in that, yeah.
I played in that one, on Lux Nova. And so, Ever since then, Zeno and I have become friends, so it's great. I'm just excited to be able to cast a game he is in. But you know what's more, I think, relevant to the current situation is this is one of the other players that I mentioned that has potentially some insight into how Frost Nova is going to play. So now we've got both a Zeno and Thoria Maya in the active lineup for Paradise Aegis.
Yeah,
So, you know, does this just mean we're going to see even more dominance? I'm not sure. By the way,
um,
Zeno coming in for Brick Wall, who,
true.
by the way, came up really clutch in a lot of situations. So Zeno does have some big shoes to fill.
Some big shoes to fill indeed as we head into our second map of Blizzard World is what Frost Nova ended up going with after a little bit of time. I think this does give them a chance to try and throw a few curveballs at Paradise Aegis and see how they handle it. I think especially on points A and B, there is a ton of high ground, especially on the defensive side, that you can take advantage of. You can go for a wrecking ball kind of situation. You can go for a double shield. You could do a lot of different things, but I think the most important thing is just don't go for one. Go for your like meta comp, what you're comfortable with, and then just settle for that. If you got something and feel like it's not working as well, go ahead and just swap over to something else that you think might work better against what Paradise Aegis is running.
You know, you bring up a good point, right? We didn't really see that much counter picking coming out from Frost Nova
Yeah, not really.
in the first map. Yeah, and that might be a problem, right? That might be somewhat problematic for them moving into this next one. Only time's gonna tell, right?
Yeah.
Control maps, they're very, very short, so there isn't really a whole lot of time to switch. There's much more time here, so maybe, you know, maybe it's just that they don't like to swap as fast as other teams. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, I think is up for debate, but we're getting a little peppering coming in already from Lockneck onto this high ground position that Frost Nova has decided to take. Brig getting left out to dry there momentarily, though, taking a lot of damage from Lockneck, if not to their health, at least to the shields. But in the meantime, Zeno taken out by Pocket Frog. And Cool Puppet's able to poke the other DPS out of the air. So this is just going to be a quick reset for Paradise Aegis.
I feel like they're playing this comp a little bit too fast right now. This comp is really based around hanging back for a little bit, being a nuisance, putting DPS or support players in a decent position for Locknock and Azino to take advantage of and get some picks off. You can't go super aggressive with this one.
Wow.
Unless you just do that. Okay. Fine. Wasteman, I did all this analysis and you completely nullified everything I said. Sure.
Wasteman just slams in with a vengeance, picks up a third kill on the way. That opens up the point. That allows the rest of the team to just pick apart the stragglers, and we've got first point unlocked.
That worked because they played it slow. It's because Zeno and Lockneck were able to get in the back and from the top and get pepper in a bunch of damage. Got a lot of members of Frost Nova very low, and the pile drive finished them off. My analysis is still valid copium.
I'm with you 100%. Gotta support the co-caster. We gotta present a united front here in the booth. But there's no united front here today on the battlefield as Pocket Frog gets revenge served onto them via Lockneck's rockets. So Paradise Aegis going to be able to get this card moving just a little bit, but in the meantime, Azino has fallen. Admiral traded out as well, so neither Tracer really getting the value they were hoping to. But that just means Paradise Aegis still has a one-player advantage, especially now that Snex is out of the fight.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these ultimates for Paradise Aegis. Zeno's going to be back into the fight extremely quickly, and then once they do, every single ultimate other than that Pulse Bomb is going to be available for them. Watch out for Lockneck in particular. Going to be looking to get a pick off with the barrage, and that's exactly what happens. You take Cool Puppet out of the fight. That is your main opponent, and Lockneck now has free reign over the skies.
Merlin, though, strikes back with a pick onto Kappa Nemo. Thoria Maya was able to get that Valkyrie out quick enough to allow her to sustain the rest of the team, not just Pocket Lockneck. Zeno goes down once again, but Waistband finds a pick onto the Femboy in response, and the cart will cap.
Yeah, Cats and Paradise Aegis, even though they look to be in a bit of a rough situation for a second, they get point C with 5 minutes left on the clock. Still two very impactful ultimates available. Lockneck is actually going to swap off of the Prara now. You're going to go to a Hanzo, which is actually really good because Admiral swapped over onto an Ashe on the other side. You have two sort of long-range characters that can take pot shots at each other while the most of the fight ends up going on up front.
Gonna be a self-destruct sent in to open things up. Merlin follows in shortly after it for Paradise Aegis, but it's gonna be the sniper from the backlines next that really opens things up for Frost and Nova. Wasteman strikes back with some mines, but it's not gonna be enough to turn the tides of this fight.
This is actually a really strong position now. You do have to wait to get Merlin back. You're going to swap over onto the Sigma. I do like that. There isn't as much room for the Wrecking Ball to play around with. So after using that minefield, you go ahead and go for a character that'll let you be... Oh, my gosh. Let you be a lot more stable, but you don't have a sniper anymore thanks to a nice shot from Lockneck.
That tree trunk struck true. Lockneck now layering a lot more damage to the shields. That's going to force both of these shielded tanks to drop back considerably. Merlin with just about half health and caught on the other side of the point has to rotate back, thus spending the majority of Femboy shields, who goes down shortly after that. But it doesn't matter because Admiral is just picking apart Frost or Paradise Aegis from behind.
You can knock Admiral down, but you can't knock him out. Admiral comes back out of spawn and immediately gets a 3K to stop Paradise Aegis' dreams of finishing Blizzard World with over 3 minutes on the clock, and immediately some swaps come through. Captain Nemo gonna move over to the Zen, and Zeno's gonna be going for the Junkrat. That's some really nice shield-breaking power, as we've ended up on a double shield mirror here.
That we have, and these grenades coming out from Azino are doing a lot of work here for Frost and Nova. But the shield so far of Frost Nova hanging true. That is until Femboy goes down. It's going to be a 4v3 right now, but again, Frost Nova holding on strong. They seem to have found a way to kind of mitigate, to kind of counter what Paradise Aegis is throwing at them right now.
Yeah, the win condition right now for for Paradise Aegis is to break the shields as fast as possible before Cool Puppet or Admiral get a pick. As of right now, they haven't done that, but this is a fantastic chance.
It certainly is. Lockneck puts in a beautiful dragon that gets so many people on the right side of the point, which is not where they want to be. Admiral does come in with a counter pick, and now Merlin's starting to push forward, but Azino finds the Femboy as well. So they're having a hard time. This Orisa's having a hard time staying up. A Cool Puppet strikes back with a Dragon Strike, but the point is moving. Somebody has to touch it, and it will get capped. Cool Puppet was off point.
Cool Puppet greeted, went for the Zenyatta, even though they had the Transcendence available, and there was no one on point to contest, and oh my goodness, that was actually looking pretty good for Frost Nova as well. They had held Paradise Aegis for several minutes at point C after they blew through points A and B. They might have been able to stop them from finishing the map. I don't know. That fight was still kind of up in the air, but a 50% chance is better than a 0% chance, which is what they have now. Oh, man, you absolutely hate to see it. Cool Puppet, hopefully we'll be able to bounce back on the attack now, as Frost Nova really don't want to go down 0-2 in this series. Not only will they have to dig themselves out of a hole for this match, but going down 0-2 in the season gives them a significant hole to dig out to over the course of the season.
That it does. They're going to be in a rough position if things continue to go the way they are. We're going to see a bit of a departure, we're going to see a very similar composition coming out from both sides.
Definitely assuming that there's going to be a Tracer on the side of Frost Nova here. That's why the Torb is getting the turret set up, making sure you have line of sight over the point, and one of the main entryways to the point. I think it's a very smart play because Admiral loves to play that Tracer, and the second that you get close to the point, you're going to start losing health and be like, oh no, they have a Torb.
Right now, I just have to stop for a second before the action gets started. I was wondering, you pronounce it Admiral, don't you? I've never heard that pronunciation before.
Huh.
It's interesting, but we do already have a pick, and it's going to be Cool Puppet who's out of the fight. Locknack strikes down and finds Snex as well. The Femboy out of their mech and out of the fight, too. This is a nice first hold coming out for Paradise Aegis.
Yeah, Locknack really proving dominance here on the Hanzo. You love to see it, especially when you're really nice, safe, and secure on this high ground. It's really just kind of a game of aim trainer right now, but you see now Merlin and Admiral. Does that make you feel better?
No, you can say Admiral. I'm not criticizing. I was just commenting that it was cool and interesting. Oh my gosh, but in the meantime, Frost Nova has struck, and they struck hard. That's going to be two picks, two players out of the way, and crucially, Lognak, who had their Dragon Strike just about ready to go. Admiral now on top of the high ground, now peppering Thoria Maya, takes her down to about half health, but in the meantime, it looks like Paradise Aegis has done what Paradise Aegis does, and that's somehow hold on, despite things looking rough.
Yeah, things are really... Paradise Aegis continue, of course, to just hang in fights where it really feels like Frost Nova should be able to get themselves the advantage, but they just aren't able to take these small advantages that they get and convert them into big advantages. It feels like Frost Nova are a little bit too scattered to be able to follow up on any opportunities that their DPS or their tanks provide for them. And instead, Paradise Aegis do a really great job of just falling back and regrouping. And now, of course, with only 2 minutes left on the clock, which is maybe 2-3 fights, we see wholesale swaps on the side of Frost Nova. Just barely, I think, enough time to build up another set of ultimates. So if you're going to do it, now is the time. But you're going for this brawl comp, which means you really have to close the distance on this double shield.
Wow, and close the distance Admiral does, but they are taken out by a Xeno on the Torbjorn. So that's going to be a lot of initiation power lost here for Frost Nova, but they're continuing to push. They're going to bet on the fact that they can push around this outside and Admiral can get back into the fight because he's Doomfist and fast. Merlin taking the high ground away now, but we're going to have a Gravitic Flux coming out from 2-bit, and oh my lord, does it land hard.
Admiral's going to swap over onto the Widowmaker, trying to get some more long-range damage to try and do something about Lockneck, but again, it's going to swap again, move over onto Cassidy. This is like the opposite problem that I was talking about before, Jungle God. Now they're just swapping every fight, trying to just throw something, anything at them to try and get something to stick, but they are sabotaging themselves at this point. This is now too much, and they don't have opportunities to get many ultimates online. And there's 5 on the other side.
Yeah, and Admiral picked out of the fight early on as well during the rotation, which is the most dangerous part. That's when this poke comp is looking to do what it does. A beautiful Dragon Strike comes in. Immortality Field saves Merlin. They are going to charge in to their demise. Cool Puppet is able to get Waistband out of the fight, but is it going to be enough to turn the tides? They do have the spawn advantage, but we still have lots of people online for Paradise Aegis, and look at Cool Puppet and the Femboy just hanging around the... Oh no, Femboy got caught out.
The Molten Core is going to make it almost impossible to exist on the point right now, and you don't have anyone that's fast enough to touch. Merlin's just going to get destroyed immediately. Yep, that is Paradise Aegis taking Blizzard World convincingly. This is a full hold on their side, and they have all the momentum heading into match point.
That they do. This was a very dominant showing coming out from Paradise Aegis. They have made a statement here. They are showing us why they were the Season 1 champions, why they were the Open Cup runners-up. This is a team that consistently performs at the top level in Hyperion. So it's just more of what we've come to expect from such a top team.
Yeah, it is fantastic, and as someone who's been watching might be saying, Dividing, you were saying that they weren't swapping at all, and that was a bad thing in Busan, so now they swap a lot on Blizzard World, and you say that's a bad thing too? And let me just explain myself for a second. So first of all, I do admire Admiral here, because you'd have the, because you were, yeah, right?
I like that. I like that.
There was definitely an attempt to swap in order to try and counter what Frost Nova tried to play, or at least something that they felt more comfortable running. But it wasn't necessarily it didn't feel very calculated in the moment. It was very much a, well, maybe Doomfist will work. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try Widow. Well, that didn't work. I'll try Hanzo. That didn't work. I'll try Cassidy. Right?
Panic
It
swap.
wasn't. It was panic swaps. It was, and you don't want to see panic swap coming out of a team because that means that that team is completely stumped and they don't really know how. They don't really have a plan to deal with the other team right now. And Frost Nova looked like a team that was unfortunately a little bit lost when playing up against that Paradise Aegis defense.
Yeah, that's it's looking a little rough for Frost Nova, but we're gonna be taking a short break. That's going to allow them to maybe reset, see if they can come up with something in the meantime. But before we go and send it to break, any final thoughts you would like to leave us with, Dividing?
Hey, if Frost Nova is watching during this break, I just want you to talk and regroup and figure out a concrete plan for your next map. It is your map pick. Try and pick a map that will maybe throw Paradise off their game, maybe try and force them into a composition that they're not quite as comfortable with. You seem to have the most success in the double shield mirror, so if you could try and force that, I think that would work out well for you guys. And just come up with a concrete plan A, plan B, plan C kind of situation. Doesn't have to be super solid, but just try and make sure you have plans so you don't end up panic swapping again. And I think you'll have a good shot at turning this around.
All right, well, we will see you all back here shortly.
Don't you find it ironic that the world is rough to us? Sharp around the edges, even though it's round. And your mind is faltering, circling the pain and doubt. I'll be a silver lining through your darkest cloud. I know, my dear, the path is sometimes treacherous, and you see no hope in this. Like all of the weight of the world's on your shoulders, and every step is poison, but you should know. If you hold my hand, you'll never be alone. Don't you find it ironic that the world is rough to us? Sharp around the edges, even though it's round. And your mind is faltering, circling the pain and doubt. I'll be a silver lining through your darkest cloud.
We are back, everybody, and excited to jump into the action once again. This time, we will be going to Havana dividing. So,
Yeah.
what does this make you think? How does this play into the rest of, how this series is going to play out?
I think this is actually a pretty solid pick for Frost Nova. I think they are very comfortable going for the brawl-based compositions, and especially when you're going for a close hold on point A, that's definitely the kind of composition you want to play. I think Havana also opens itself very well for the Widowmakers, the Ashes, the Sniper characters, which is something that I think we've seen both Cool Puppet and Admiral go for some kind of go for those kinds of long-range heroes. I think this composition where we saw Frost Nova have the most success was on Blizzard World Point C, where they ran a double shield, double sniper composition, right? I think they did a really good job of identifying the spots of Paradise Aegis' comp that was exposed, and they have some very mechanically talented DPS that were able to pick them off. So that's the kind of composition I think Frost Nova will want to play towards. I would guess, based on what I saw before, I think that gives them a really solid chance to maybe take a map off of them.
It certainly does. So we'll just have to wait and see if that will play out. No swaps from either team in terms of players. Xeno looks to be in once again for Brickwall. Mm-hmm. So in these last few moments before we get a peek at their compositions, who are you expecting to be a major contributing factor here, dividing?
Yeah, I mean, on the side, I think of Frost Nova, because I think I'm going to focus on Frost Nova here because I think the pressure is very much on them right now.
Yeah.
They really have to come up with an answer right here, right now, in order to keep themselves in this series. And they're doing exactly what I thought they were going to do. They're doing this double shield, double sniper composition. They're going to hang back, try and zone Paradise Aegis away, and use those accretions, use those halts to try and put the other team in perfect position for Cool Puppet and Admiral to pick them off. I think we need to be seeing some synergy and communication come out between the tanks and the DPS in particular in order to make that as successful as possible.
Well, let's see how this defense is going to hold. Xeno dropping back behind his shield to see if they can get a shot. But too many shields in place for Widow to be really that effective, so they're going to grapple back to spawn and swap over to the Ash, who's going to get a lot more value, especially with that Dynamite, with that Bob as well. Card has moved up close to this first corner, which is where we typically see the engagements start to really come into play. Admiral, once again, taking pot shots from behind the shield of Femboy. Not finding too much at the moment. Gonna have to drop back as that shield is falling very, very quickly. And this is exactly what you typically see with these comps, is you see they fall back, they wait for moments, they wait for opportunities to pick, but if they keep falling back, they're just going to be out of room, and Paradise Aegis will be able to cap very quickly. Waistband at a very tough position at the moment, has to drop back and wait for some heals. That leaves 2-Bit up in front to try and tank things as much as they can. Waistband forced to drop in with about half health. They proc some shields, allowing them to get some value and continue to put the pressure on Frost Nova, who does eventually fall.
It should be noted here, there's a very important discrepancy in these two compositions where we have a Baptiste on one side, but a Mercy on the other. Flavors is going to be much more effective at healing up his tanks like this, but but Thor being on this Mercy really shows that Paradise Aegis have a lot of confidence in their DPS players. As they know on Locknack, whoever that Mercy is pocketing, whoever she's damage boosting, is going to have a huge advantage in the long-range battle. And this time around, they were able to get those first picks off before Cool Puppet or an Admiral could do so on the other side. So, so far it's working. We'll see if long-term that loss of healing is going to affect Paradise Aegis.
Ooh, Waistband got caught in a tough position. They're certainly having to definitely focus on staying alive via health pack. I mean, that's typically what a Wrecking Ball does, but they're having to do it even more so right now because of that single target healing that is only on the side of Paradise Aegis. Going to hear Bob committed by a Xeno and Admiral. That's going to prompt... it's going to prompt the Supercharger as well from the Femboy to come in. We're going to see a lot of damage pushed into the side of Paradise Aegis. In fact, Capanemo forced to use their Transcendence. Rez does come in as well, so Xeno's back in the fight as a Dragon Strike takes out Snex, and that successfully cuts Frost Nova in half, allowing them to continue to capture this point.
Yeah, it's looking like point B will be done. A golden rule of Overwatch, Joker God. If you have two Zens that have Transcendence available, usually the second Zenyatta to use Transcendence wins the fight. And that is what happened that time, as the trans from Nemo was able to allow Thor to get the res off. They were able to get the man advantage, and they were able to get to point C like Blizzard World with over 5 minutes on the clock. Now, we do see a bit of a swap up here from the side of Frost Nova. The Femboy's going to move over onto a Wrecking Ball of their own. So now it's more of a mirror than anything else. Admiral's also going to take advantage of that Widow perch spot that you see on point C.
That they are. They're going to be looking for some nice angles here. They've got somebody in front of the shields, but unable to find the head, and instead it's a Xeno who comes in clutch big with a shot from Ash. It's a lot of damage going in via the dynamite as well.
And of course, it was boosted up by the Mercy damage boost, which is why it was a one-shot. So, really good stuff. That high risk, high reward of the Mercy has definitely come in clutch for Paradise Aegis so far. That being said, the spawn advantage here at the end of Amana is going to be really tough for them to overcome.
It certainly is, and this might even prompt a swap in the healing lineup, because right there, I think a big reason Tubit went down as well is because they didn't have those bigger heals, right? They have the single target healing, so you weren't able to keep Sigma in that fight.
You do have the Valkyrie, though, so figure may as well, with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, may as well go in for one more. You got Valkyrie, you got Bob, you got Dragon Strike, you got Minefield. You got so many tools in your pocket, you may as well just try and use them, as many of them as you can, and see if you can push forward before going for the swap.
And now we've got the multi-target damage boost and heals coming out from Mercy via the Valkyrie. That's going to allow them to push in.
After the Widow.
Oh my gosh. You're right. She backs off at the last moment, though, as that Valkyrie expires. But that was enough damage coming in from the front to be able to push Paradise Aegis right to the brink of completion here. It's going to be a tough matter to try and stall this out, but the Femboy is just about there with the minefield. So if they can get that online, they can certainly have an effect here. But they go out of the fight almost immediately. They weren't able to get the mines procced in time. There is a little bit of stalling going on here now for Frost Nova, but how long will it last? Dividing, there's only so much they can do. 3.32 meters left to go. Admiral is down. The Femboy does come back out, though, and drop the minefield. Doriamea does get a kill as well on the Mercy. The Battle Mercy coming out to play. Waistband with a counter minefield now to try and clean up what Femboy left on the point. It's gonna be Merlin out of mech as well. This is only a matter of time until it gets pushed in, but look, Admiral has found a pick. Cool Puppet has found one as well. The spawn advantage might be big enough. The Femboy very low, but so is Waistband, and they're gonna be the ones who take the L. Oh my gosh, and it will be Xeno capping for Paradise Aegis.
Your favorite player, Jungle God. They come up clutch.
The clutch.
Oh my goodness, that really did. It was so close, so close. I think, honestly, that there are many cases where Frost Nova, they were able to extend that for so long, get so many picks. there were a lot of situations where I think that ends up going in favor of the defending side. But again, we see the synergy from Paradise Aegis that allows them to stay in fights way longer than they realistically should be able to stay in them. And they manage to continue trading, continue slowly getting 1 meter, 2 meters on the point until there's just no more room to hide. And Azeno gets the final crushing blow onto Z the Femboy in order to give themselves a 1 minute and 51 second time bank on Havana. Considering how much of a defensive stronghold it is at the end of that map, that is such a huge time bank and puts Paradise Aegis in really good position here to potentially 3-0 the series.
It certainly does. This is a tall order coming in from Frostnova, especially considering they got full held on Blizzard World. So, you know, that's not going to be the case here, as Paradise Aegis has opted for this Wrecking Ball Sigma comp, so we're not getting the spawn hold, which you so frequently see here. So, already Frostnova in a better position, I think, here than they were on Blizzard World. But Admiral goes down to about 30 health as they try and take a shot here through these trees. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, turns out you can. You can, in fact, shoot between the branches, and Captain Nemo almost did just that. This double shield composition really puts a lot of faith into Cool Puppet and Admiral. They're going to hang back and just try and put their DPS in the best position possible to get picks.
Ooh, that's going to be a flanking Sigma. Almost pays for it right there. Two-Bit chasing them away, but now they're getting pressured from the high ground as well by that Hanzo. They're in a tough position because the cart has already started to pass that first corner, which is primarily where you want to try and make things happen. But Locknock comes in huge with a pair of picks to hold on to this point for Paradise Aegis.
Yeah, and now this is getting a little bit tougher. Now that you have to hold... Oh my gosh, the Tracer is in the back there.
Right.
Admiral is just kind of hanging out. Only 20% to a pulse bomb. You can't go for a sneaky pulse bomb here, but you might be able to go for some kind of assassination attempt, because there's no way that that Paradise Aegis knows that the Tracer is back there.
Right.
I don't know. That might be interesting to watch unfold.
It certainly could be. I'm going to be curious to see when they come into the fray here. But Cool Puppet immediately deleted by Kappa and Nemo. They've got, you know, there might have been double snipers for a minute on Frostnova, but you've got triple snipers on Paradise Aegis.
Yeah, Captain Nemo has been putting in the work, putting in the damage, and yeah, that is... Flavors has no chance of living right there. Is going to stare at Arisa in the face with the amplification matrix. I don't know. That might have been the bloodthirsty support going through his head a little bit, but it is still going to be a pretty healthy win for Paradise Aegis here. That being said, losing the Zenyatta with the Transcendence available could be big. Zenyatta has a long way to trek to get back into the fight. Actually, well, never mind. Captain Nemo's
they're
back.
here.
Okay. I'm trying to find a silver lining here for Frostnova. I really want to see them get to at least point A, and they do have the tools to get it done here. 5 ultimates, everything except for the Amp Matrix is going to be coming up in just a moment, but they're going to have to play through 6 ultimates on the other side. This is going to be a flashy fight, Juggle.
It certainly will be, especially considering there's only a minute 15 left on the clock. And these aren't exactly quick-moving compositions, at least on the case of Frostnova. They pop a very interesting supercharger right there. They are going to find some value of it. Admiral gets a pick, but is taken out of the fight almost immediately. But there is still a 1-player advantage for Frostnova. This could be the advantage they were looking for. They've gotten the cart under their control now. They're starting to chase down the Zenyatta. No, take that back. That was Waistband finding Flavors instead. Merlin pulled into the air. The immortality field there at the last moment to save their life, but now they're getting peppered from behind. I don't think they realize Waistband is there. There's just too many angles for them to try and stay and keep protected, and now there's just 30 seconds left on the clock, but they did make some progress.
They made some progress, but they need to make a whole lot more to even give themselves a shot at extra rounds, and there are no ultimates available on the side of Frost Nova. They threw everything into that one. Snakes is kind of close to that Ant Matrix, but you still need 20% in order to get there. Meanwhile, Azeno already has that Bob available. That extra 7th player on the field could be the death knell.
It certainly could. We're going to see Bob committed right now onto Cart, putting in a lot of damage, especially to Merlin, who is just with a sliver of health. They go down almost first waistband with the minefield as well. That's going to start to seal the deal for Paradise Aegis. They will pick up a win here on Havana over Frost Nova.
Yeah. And that is what we call a perfect game, ladies and gentlemen. Paradise Aegis 2-0, 3-0, 3-0 to come out with a perfect game over Frost Nova. To be clear, Frost Nova didn't really seem like a bad team. I think they have a lot of really talented players on their roster, but this is a squad that has been together for over a year at this point. They took the Invitational Season 1, and it's looking like they are raring to go to repeat that title.
That they are. They did take second place in the Hyperion, what was it, the Open? The Open Cup?
No, yeah, I think they came in second in the Open, right?
They came in second in the Open, yeah. So they're going to be looking to maybe come back a little stronger, show that, you know, they are still the juggernauts that everyone knows them to be. So,
absolutely.
Congratulations to Paradise Aegis. We're going to bring in an interview here in just a couple of moments. So stick around, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and I hope you forgive me. I just had to bring a Xeno into the booth. We were talking about it, and I wanted a chance to get to chat with him after that game. First time I think I've gotten to interview you, so really looking forward to this one. But first off, congratulations to Xeno on the win. And my first question to you is, what was it like coming into this Paradise Aegis team that had so much synergy already, that had so long of a history? Was it a tough process to fit in to the team, or did it kind of go seamlessly, or somewhere in between?
Uh, well, first of all, thank you for having me. Love you, Juggle. You're great, great
Love you too,
friend.
my guy.
But I've actually been on Aegis for a few months now.
Mhm.
So at first it was a little hard getting synergy there, but later on it just started to work really well, and we've kind of found our groove. And I think from our performances, yeah, we have some few kinks to work out, but it's really smoothed out for us.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And, you mentioned, of course, the fact that you've transitioned a couple months ago. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that your former team was actually Frost Nova. So I do have to ask, after this 3-0, is there any vindication there to beat your old? I understand that it's kind of a new team, but like beat your old org.
Well, for me, it's not entirely a new team because I did help with the tryout process of Frost Nova, and I have an IRL friend on that team. Plus, Rook is a good friend of mine, their GM. So there wasn't really any bad blood, but just a friendly rivalry that uh, I like to beat Rook. That's pretty much just what it is.
Yeah. Called out right there. And then, of course, Paradise Aegis. We are, of course, 2 weeks into the season, and you guys are looking solid 2-0 in maps. I want to say 6-1 overall in the map record. Looking really, really good. How's the team feeling as we kind of cross over the midpoint of the regular season? I imagine confidence levels are pretty high.
Um, Confidence is pretty high, but our coaches really keep us leveled and make sure we don't get like cocky or anything. Like there are teams in the tournament that can 100% beat us. Like we're not at some unstoppable force. So we're kept grounded, but like we do have that confidence to beat teams like that uh we think can beat us, if that makes sense.
It showed. You, I think, played very confidently today as a team. So I think I felt that confidence during while I was watching.
That's good.
Absolutely. Well, to close things out, Zeno, like we usually do, I want to know if you've got any shout outs you'd like to give friends, family, teammates, whoever.
Um, Gosh. I mean, shout out to Paradise for taking me on. I I had talked about joining them while I was still on Nova because I just wanted something different. And Caffeinated, who's was the coach last year, is just taking a leave. So she brought me on, and it was really cool, and it's been great ever since. So thank you to all them. Thank you to my girlfriend that joined the team on such short notice.
Oh,
Thor
nice.
Yumea, aka Thea. Juggle, I'm sure you're familiar.
Yep, absolutely. I
It was
wasn't gonna say anything unless it was like public knowledge. So
Oh,
now that
it's
I know it
public.
is, I'll absolutely. Okay, cool.
Yes. So thank you to everyone at Paradise and her. A lot of this wouldn't be possible without them. And to everyone at Hyperion, you as the casters, observers, producers, love all of y'all. I love
Well,
Hyperion too.
well, thank you so much. We love you as well, Zeno. Thank you so much for coming into the interview booth, chatting with us for just a couple of minutes, and congratulations once again, and good luck to you in the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. Dividing. Wonderful to be back on the mic with you again.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a little while, so it's good.
Been
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been like
the
maybe a
summer,
month
the
or so.
summer's
Yeah.
the summer's a little slow because we don't have
I
collegiate
know.
to
I
cast
know.
together. But
Yeah.
we're getting back into it soon. We're getting back into it soon, so I'm
Yes.
excited.
Absolutely, as am I. If you want to follow what I'm up to, you can find me at JuggleGod on Twitter. Dividing, where can they find you?
Dividing underscore by underscore the number 0. It's very complicated, and I made it on purpose.
All
If
right.
you have to put in just a little bit of extra effort to find me, so anyone who follows me, I know that they actually want to follow me.
And for
That's
those
my-
of you
that's my
who are
excuse.
lazy and just want to follow whoever, I am at JuggleGod. So thank you all
That's
so
much
much
easier.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you to our producers and observers. Appreciate you. That's Xenon Oakley and Lissa Rue. We are done here for tonight. So GG's and see you next time.